And it can't be about that. You have to let go whether or not your hands are lifted or not. Like, I can't stand, and I got a lot of pet peeves. You go to churches and people go, I don't see enough of you guys worship,
right?
And I don't see enough of you praising God. Has God not done anything for you? And it's amazing how, and this is a psychology side note, because I love psychology. But the idea that the main thing, and this, while children are in the church, they're learning this on accident. While children are in the church, if you think about it, you'll agree with me. The best way, or the most common way, not the best, it's deplorable, the most common way that your average preacher incurs worship for God is by guilting you into it.
Yes!
Hasn't he done something for you? Well, if you ought to give him praise, and you ought to do this. You've been sick, and he let you go, and not to take anything away from praising God and thanking him for what he's done. But when I have to threaten you with, you're not really a Christian, can I find the real worshipers? I need to find the real praisers, as if there's a distinction. And now people go, well, now he's saying I'm not a real worshiper.
But they're still doing it to appease him, not God.
And he becomes the focal point of, I need you to know that I'm a worshiper. So I'm gonna lift my hands now, even though I wasn't doing it before. Instead of going
and listening in action based on
just worshiping God.
But it seems to me that alone is even foundation in the world. You go to a courtroom, they're judging you, and they're declaring guilty or not guilty. Someone who says guilty, so when they send them to prison, they want you to feel so sorry about yourself and guilty, so that when you come out, you don't want to go back to that place. So it's almost like they're trying to keep us in the prison, when the Lord said, I want you to be free to worship me. I need to be the focal point. I need to be the one. Forget about, but here's the challenge. So now we're talking about emotionalism. You got some people who don't respond, and you got some people who do respond, but respond specifically to what they like, respond specifically to how they feel, and then at the end of the day, they say we had church. I have a challenge when we say the presence of God is in the room, but there's no change that took place, but we had church because we shouted, we danced, the musicians, they played chords and all kind of stuff. I mean, right. Now I'm not, and I had to learn, even from my wife, because she's a praiser and I'm a worshiper. So she loves to party. She loves to kind of, shout and all that kind of stuff, but she also loves to worship. So I'm not devaluing that praisers are less better than worshipers or worshipers. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying is we need to get to the place where we learn to do it with our hearts opposed to our feet, and do it with our hearts opposed to being driven by emotion. How do you, in your opinion, how do you think what it's gonna take to separate emotionalism? God, I'm fighting with it, because even worship itself is an emotional response.
Here's my opinion. And I got this from my pastor. There is this very, very strong chord that connects praise and worship. They're actually not two different things. They are enacted in two different ways, and you can tell the difference between one and the other
based on expression or
whatever, how it's portrayed or displayed. But what he always told me is that he said worship, and this is a weird metaphor. Pastor Darnell Jones, I love you very much. He said worship. And worship and praising God is like a sniper rifle. Right?
I love it. I love it.
It's like over the altar Sunday morning. worship and praise is like a sniper rifle. He said, your intimacy with God is how you aim, but praise is what pulls the trigger.
One more time, Doc. He said, worship
is how you aim, how you look down the sights. I need to figure out in my life what sin needs to die. And then praise is what pulls the trigger. Worship, of course, praising God for who he is, praising God for what he's done. Worship, thanking God for who he is. From an African American standpoint, we're a rhythm people. Like we're a boom, doom, 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 doom. Like we can't be still. Like once the drum is going, we instantly feel like church is better now. We have at my church every first Friday we have the Next Level. It's a Friday Night Live open mic worship service. And some nights we just didn't have a musician. The schedule didn't work out, or we couldn't get him money, or whatever the case, and it'd be us and microphones. And I want to say that we have some of the best church those nights, absent organist and absent drums, because all you have is your voice. You'd be amazed how little the people of God give them the fruit of their lips. we have been indoctrinated to think that church has a recipe, and that recipe involves drums and an organ and a sweaty preacher, and then I jump and then I clap, and then I'm waiting for this formula to be fulfilled, and now I'm saying this is church.
Yeah,
I've had church.
Right.
Well, I've worshipped. The sad thing is when that worship or that praise is the foundation of it is simply just emotion.
Yes.
And not change.
Yeah.
How can I put it best? If you were in a relationship, because it's easy to talk about relationship.
For sure.
If you're in a relationship and every Sunday you say, wife, I love you, you love me, but these two things you did this week that hurt my feelings, let's pray about it, I want you to do it again. And she goes, baby, I'm so sorry, I'll never do it again. And y'all have your worshipful cry moment, and then on Monday she's like praising you, saying, you're such a good man and I appreciate you so much, but Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday she does the same thing again.
Right.
Now, the reason why we struggle so much with talking about emotionality in the church is because that day when she's saying I'm sorry and crying, it feels good. Yeah. Because you feel like your point was made.
For sure.
And then on Monday, when she's all happy and praising you for that's something that you told her and that she's going to do better and how much better things are now, and giving praise to the situation, that it feels good.
Yeah.
But Satan does such a great job with our feelings.
Oh, for sure.
We get tied to feeling a certain way.
Yeah.
And what happens on accident is that we begin to worship that feeling instead of actually worshiping God.
Yeah, so true.
Here, the way that plays itself out in my own life, for years, another part of my testimony, a family member of mine introduced me to pornography at an incredibly young age. Okay. So for years, it was a struggle for me to look at women and not instantly picture them naked. I was like 5, 6. I didn't. That was my life.
For sure.
And I struggled with pornography and masturbation for years in church. Yeah. Going to church every Sunday. Every Sunday. And struggled greatly. Like certain days, I couldn't think about anything else. Grades started to slip. All that kind of stuff. And but I would go to church and I'd run and I'd cry and I'd jump and I'd say, God, I want to give it up. God, I want to give it up. God, I want to stop. God, I want to stop. Until I realized that months after of worshiping, and I said, God, why haven't I stopped yet? Why haven't I stopped? I know that worship was for real, and I know that I meant it when I said it. God, why is it still in my life? Why is it still here? And for me, what happened was that I worshipped the idea that I wanted to stop.
Wow.
There is a difference. I acknowledged, Alex, this is wrong and you should stop because God is just that good.
For sure.
And God is just that awesome.
For sure.
And I worship God in the framework of He's worth me stopping. But there's a difference between acknowledging that He's worth stopping, doing it, whatever the case is, and actually stopping.
Wow. So good.
I guess the best way to say it is like the Bible says that we should be dying to our old man. We should be dying. The flesh should die daily.
For sure.
Is there's a difference between buying a knife to kill the old man and actually killing him.
For sure. Yeah.
Huge difference.
Right.
I have everything I need. I went to the service.
I have the potential to kill.
I prayed.
Right.
I trust that God can.
Yes.
But the problem is, He said, you kill the old man. Because we have to actually make the decision to die more to our flesh.
Wow.
It doesn't, what happens is, and this is, I preached a sermon years ago called, what was it called? It was called Lifeline. And what I was trying to encourage the people of God is that it was actually at a family reunion. Mind you, they haven't asked me to preach again since then. But what happened is I got up and I preached and I said, how many of us, instead of thanking God for the new life we have with Him, are taking flowers to the grave of our old life? And what actually, what I said is that spiritually, some of us have our old man on life support.
Yes.
We have those other traits and those sins in our life that we do not want to give up, but they're not like reigning in our life to us, and they're not like controlling our decisions to us, and it's not affecting my ministry to us, and it's not affecting our relationships to me. To my rationalization, I have this sin under control.
Yeah.
God never told you to control sin. He said, kill it. If your hand causes you to sin, cut it off. If your eye causes you to sin, pluck it out. But we're teaching ourselves, it's been this long since I've done this sin, I'm doing good.
Yes.
And we tally.
And we justify.
And we're keeping traits. Well, it's been 6 months, or as you, I'm setting myself free.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I will go and preach a sermon and God will move and go home and sin because I feel like I deserved it, because I did.
Oh, like it's a reward.
Oh, God, I did.
I got to get some cake.
Oh, man. This for the minister.
Oh, Lord.
What I'm saying